South Africa's political climate has once again been thrown into turbulence, with fresh headlines shaking both the ruling party and the corridors of power. An unexpected storm broke loose when President Cyril Ramaphosa, alongside several top-ranking officials, found themselves dragged into what is now being called the Justice College inquiry. What began as a seemingly routine probe into the administrative affairs of the Justice College has spiraled into a political earthquake, raising questions about accountability, transparency, and the hidden hands shaping South Africa's governance. The Justice College, long known as a training ground for magistrates and legal practitioners, has in recent years faced scrutiny over allegations of mismanagement, questionable contracts, and political interference. While whispers of irregularities have circled the institution for months, no one expected the probe to escalate into such a direct confrontation with the very top of government. The inquiry's terms of reference, expanded after whistleblowers came forward, now include allegations of undue influence from senior officials and, shockingly, even the office of the presidency itself. For President Ramaphosa, who has spent much of his tenure positioning himself as a reformer committed to clean governance, the optics of this inquiry are devastating. His critics wasted no time framing the developments as proof that his promises of transparency were hollow. Opposition parties pounced on the news, with the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, describing the inquiry as the most glaring evidence yet that corruption runs all the way to the union buildings. The Democratic Alliance, DA, echoed similar sentiments, demanding full disclosure of communications between the Presidency and Justice College officials. But what makes this saga truly unprecedented is not only the involvement of the President's name, but the breadth of figures being scrutinized. Reports suggest that senior officials from the Department of Justice, key members of the ANC's legal advisory team, and even long-serving parliamentary aides have been asked to submit testimonies. The web of alleged impropriety extends from questionable procurement deals to accusations that appointments within the Justice College were influenced by political loyalties rather than merit. Behind the scenes, the mood within the ANC is described as tense, even volatile. Party insiders admit that the inquiry could not have come at a worse time, with the 2026 general elections fast approaching and internal divisions already threatening to tear the party apart. Some factions within the ANC see the inquiry as an opportunity to weaken Ramaphosa's grip on power, especially as his leadership continues to face criticism over South Africa's struggling economy, rolling blackouts, and rampant unemployment. Others fear that a full-scale scandal could spell electoral disaster, giving opposition parties the ammunition they need to topple the ANC from its long-held dominance. Legal analysts, meanwhile, stress that the inquiry itself does not yet imply guilt on the part of Ramaphosa or his officials. They caution that due process must be allowed to run its course, and that political hysteria should not overshadow the facts. Still, the symbolism of a sitting president being linked however tenuously to a probe into legal training and justice administration has struck a nerve in a nation already weary of scandal. Public reaction has been swift and divided. On social media platforms, hashtags like #JusticeCollegeInquiry and #RamaphosaExposed began trending within hours of the announcement. Some citizens expressed anger and disappointment, accusing the ruling elite of betraying the country's democratic ideals. Others defended the president, arguing that his inclusion in the inquiry is a politically motivated attempt to weaken his leadership ahead of the elections. For Ramaphosa, the road ahead is treacherous. His ability to steer the ANC through this storm will depend on whether he can convincingly distance himself from the allegations and demonstrate a willingness to let the inquiry proceed without interference. Any hint of obstruction or political maneuvering could deepen the crisis and further erode his credibility. The Justice College inquiry has opened a new chapter in South Africa's ongoing struggle with accountability and corruption. It is a test not only of Ramaphosa's leadership but of the nation's democratic institutions. Will the probe shed light on systemic flaws and pave the way for genuine reform, or will it become another flashpoint in the endless cycle of political drama? For now, one thing is clear: the inquiry has already shaken the political establishment to its core. The unprecedented drama of a sitting president being dragged into a judicial investigation has set the stage for what could become one of the most defining battles of South Africa's democratic era.